much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of I was about to say New Jersey. This is Atlanta. Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 15, episode 10. It feels like there should be more episodes because it feels like this show has been going on for a while, but I guess not. But let's get into it. We gonna get a little spicy, just a little, because there's a couple of tweets that I saw on All True Tea from some of the ladies that I want to talk about. So the first one up is Kenya being disappointed in Drew's little comment about, girl, the last movie you was in was Twa, and that was like 20 years ago. So Kenya said this. So she quote tweeted somebody else's comment, and the person said, "Oh, Drew, baby, no, you can't be coming for Kenya's acting resume. Hashtag RHOA." So Kenya quote tweets that person's tweet and says, "So disappointed by Drew's comments. I've always supported her dreams. I never asked her about her acting career or singing career when she fell off, only encouraged her and praised her. Wow, uncalled for and unprovoked. Hashtag RHOA." Girl, Kenya, you was shading her. She gave you a little shade, and she gave you shaded her. She shaded you back. Don't be acting like it was that deep for you to be like, it was unprovoked and uncalled for. Girl, the last movie you was in was Twa. Now, you didn't have recent acting endeavors because you was on that show Family Reunion, and I enjoyed you on Netflix show Family Reunion, but don't do that, lady. Don't do that, Kenya. So then she quote tweeted somebody else who said this: "See, Sonya, that's why Kenya doesn't trust you. Hashtag RHOA." So Kenya said, "Yep," exclamation point, "not neutral and goes behind my back and kikis about me. Hashtag RHOA." Then she continued that same energy with another person's tweet, and she quote tweeted it by saying this: "What are we even talking about right now? Sonya, why are you going so hard on Kenya's man after she done helped you raise all that money for your charity? I'm sorry, this fake stuff is too much," exclamation point. So then Kenya responds by quote tweeting by saying, "Because at Sonya Richie Ross is not my friend or neutral. Pay attention. Hashtag RHOA." So here's my thing. I didn't think the comment that Sonya made was that deep. It was not that deep. But I feel like a lot of people, and even Kenya, are committed to not liking Sonya because of her connection with Marlo. Like, girl, she kikied about your man. You was kikiing about Marlo's man. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Y'all are on this show and y'all shade each other left and right. Calm down. So let's move on to Sheree. So Sheree had this to say: "Why would she wait until we get in a different country to bring this up? I roll question mark." She said, hashtag this is not a movie. Hashtag RHOA. I can see where Sheree is coming from as this pertains to Drew. But girl, you opened up the floor for people to like have their grievances, and she gave you what she was feeling. It is what it is. So then she goes on to say this after she quote tweets somebody, and she says, "If She by Sheree got taken back from 4 castmates, how did Drew lie? Question mark. Hashtag RHOA." And Sheree says there were even members from production that had hashtag She by Sheree after the reunion. Marlo was not the only one to get hashtag She by Sheree, hashtag RHOA. Now, I don't know if Drew is lying, because I ain't seen that many people walking in the streets with She by Sheree, but I definitely feel like she not. Like, girl, I feel like a lot of them would probably support you because it's been so long since you got this business venture off the ground. But Sheree is committed to saying sis is lying and that she gave people free shirts that were unironed. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is one of Marla's quote tweets. And this is what she had to say, or what the person had to say that she quote tweeted. "The fans don't like at Sonya Richie Ross because she likes at I Heart Marlo, which is crazy. Just last year we loved Marlo. What change can she have? What change can she have a friend on the show? Question mark. Mind you, it's one of the few friendships that seem real and genuine. Hashtag RHOA." I agree with this person in the sense of people don't like Sonya, mainly because she's attached to Marlo, but also Sonya keeps saying she wants to be neutral when clearly she's more friends with Marlo and Sheree, which I don't think that's wrong of her to have a close friendships, just like Candy and Kenya are the closest. Their friendship is very close because they've known each other for so long. I think Sonya has to stop saying that she's being neutral and just be like, hey, that's my friend. I'm riding for her, but I do want to have a friendship with you. And if that can't happen, that just can't happen because I'm still going to be on this side. And it is what it is. She just need to stop saying she neutral because she not really neutral. But let's get into the review. Y'all. So the episode opens up and it's Thanksgiving. So we get different little family videos. We see Candy being very charitable, which I think is wonderful. Handing out like, I guess, bags of like turkey and you know, all the things that we eat during Thanksgiving out to people that are in need. We saw Marlo eating a lamb chop and I was like, girl, lamb would be so good right now. We saw Sonya and Ross eating together. And then we got like a really sweet moment of Brooklyn meeting her grandpa. I think it said for the first time, which I thought was sweet. You know, Kenya get on my nerves, but when it comes to her relationship with Brooklyn and how she loves Brooklyn and seeing her so happy with Brooklyn, it warms my heart because we've seen her want this so badly, want a family, want a child, and technically she has a family. It may not be what she wanted as like a husband and stuff like that, but she got her little girl and I'm happy for her that she has her because you can tell that Brooklyn gives so much light to Kenya and her hugging her grandpa. It was so quick, like sweet, because she quickly hugged that man. And you know, it ain't nothing like getting a hug from your grandparents. It's top tier, especially if it's your grandparents that you know will ride for you. It's a good feeling, okay? It's a wonderful feeling. So we find out that they're going to have like a brunch at Ralph's and Drew's house. I don't know what Drew had on. I don't understand what she had on. I do like her new confessional with the orangey red hair, the auburn hair. It looks cute. I don't like the outfit, but that hairdo and the color looks really nice on her. I hate that zebra outfit. I don't know who told her we was going back to the 80s, but I hate it. I hate it. I hate that mullet on her head. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But I also don't like this lime green outfit she got on. The top doesn't look like it fit because you can see the bra, but who cares? So they're having like a brunch dinner at Ralph's house. And I had a screenshot of like a picture that someone had on my timeline. And it was Ralph with one of the aprons on that said call me daddy or something. I don't know. And he was like shirtless. And I was like, what is this? But I saw in this scene that all of the men that came to the brunch had it on. Now, I'm going to be honest. I kind of was tuning in and out when it comes to Ralph because I told y'all they gave me stunt queens and I can't do them. But it seems like Ralph is having this business venture or wanting to do this for the ladies because he said when the guys come together, we bond. That's because y'all not real friends like that. Y'all are cool, okay? Y'all wives are filming this show. Y'all getting paid for it. Of course y'all gonna come together. But the guys were gonna cook for all the ladies. So everyone brung their mans except Sheree and Kenya. We find out that Rio, I guess, was like in Miami and Martell wasn't feeling well. But Marlo even brought Scott Lee, who we found out is Jamaican, and that man can cook. Okay, they people ever since they found out who he was, I found out that he was on Hell's Kitchen with, you know, oh boy, the British man that be yelling at everybody. I cannot think his name. It's gonna bother me. It's gonna pop up in my head. But y'all know that man, he be yelling. I used to love his show where he would go and fix restaurants because the way he would clear them people, I used to get so much joy out of that. But he was on one of his shows and everyone's been retweeting and I've been seeing his videos on Instagram of him cooking and the food looks delicious that he makes. So I mean, like, he would have won me that way. Like I likes to eat. So if it's good, I'm down for the ride. So everyone shows up to the house. They sit down. We see Bryce. You know, we know Bryce is Courtney's baby daddy. Y'all, side note, I kind of like Courtney. Like, she was getting on my nerves in the beginning with all of that. But I kind of like Courtney, and I could see Courtney being a part of the cast. I don't know why, but I was like, oh, I kind of like you. Ooh. But everyone's there. Mayetta comes, like, everybody, the whole cast is there. Legit, the whole cast is there. So They sit down. Candy brings up about the movie that Todd is making, where it's like the innocent or naive housewife gets turned out by a woman, and they want Drew to be the leading lady. So before it was like Candy revealed that they want Drew to be the leading lady, Kenya was sitting at the table being like, girl, and you didn't call me? I didn't see no call sheet, like no advertisements about y'all wanting someone to be in this movie. And everyone was like, I think Candy was like, girl, you don't even want to audition for it, you just think I'm gonna give it to you, pretty much. And she was like, of course, like, we've been friends for that long. So she was like, but who's the leading lady? And they were like, Drew. And Kenya did kind of make a slick comment. I can't remember what she said, but she said something like, it was kind of like, it was condescending. I know the tone of it was condescending. And Drew was like, I'm giving y'all main character energy. And that's when Drew made the comment, like, the last video or movie Kenya has been in is Twa. Which is true. Which is completely true. So, I mean, what Drew said, yeah, it was shady, but girl, she could tell that you were shading her at the table. The lady not stupid. Like, Kenya, you may be the shade assassin, but that don't mean people don't catch it. So Kenya was like, so cute. Like, Kenya was being condescending. The way that she said Courtney was being condescending, Kenya was being condescending as well, in my opinion. So they're sitting at the table, and then all of a sudden, Kenya's phone rings, and it's Rio. And everyone's like, what? And so Kenya shows the phone to everyone, and Marlo's like, oh my God, is that Roy? I think she said Rio or Roy, whoever. She was like, and they were like, yeah. She was like, oh my God, I dated him. Or like, we went on a date. And Kenya was like, And she was like, I can't hear you, because everyone at the table was like, oh my God, they're gonna blah, blah, blah. You know, being girls. Like we sometime are when we find out you got a man. Oh, girl, what's his name? And she leaves the table to go sit in a different room to have a conversation with him. And that's how we find out that he was in Miami, and I think he was going somewhere else. So Marlo lets it be known that, like, I guess she was filming something with Cynthia. She says Cynthia's name, and she was like, which outfit should I wear? Roy slid into her DMs and said the bodysuit Miss Marlo. And that was in October of 2018. So they were like, she was giggling, but she was like, it wasn't that deep. Like, he took me out and that's it. So Kenya comes back and she sits down, and I think Sonya says, what are like the chances that Kenya and you dated the same person? And Marlo's like, no, we ain't date. We went on like on one date. And then Kenya said something about like, I'm glad it was one day because he knew not to get involved with you or something like that. Like, he knew what he really wanted. Now, I know we not here for Marlo. I know we not. But I don't understand why people are mad at Marlo or saying Marlo just wants to be connected to Kenya so bad. When we saw Kenya in the beginning of this season tell everyone how Martell was in her DMs, and we found out that it wasn't that deep, and it was 6 months ago. And Marlo's bringing up something that happened almost 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't get why everyone's acting like, oh, Marlo just wants to be attached to Kenya. Marlo threw a dig at Kenya like Kenya threw it at Sheree. So if we gonna be fair, we gonna be fair. Like, if I didn't think it was that deep. I didn't think it was that deep. And I felt like what Kenya said was kind of like, girl, calm down. I think you just a little perturbed that man talked to Marlo. At least, and then she's, this is what it is. She perturbed that man talked to Marlo. So then Sheree brings up again about everyone going to Portugal and how excited she is. And then she says something to Courtney about like, Courtney, I'm so happy that you're going, and I might need you. And Courtney's like, girl, you're not going to need me. She was like, you're a crisis manager. I might need you. And then I think Kenya said something about, I don't know if she can really manage a crisis or something like that because of the way she got into it with Candy. And then Courtney was like, you don't need I think she said something about, Courtney was like, I don't think we need each other's services, or you don't need my services. And Kenya was like, no, because I don't need all of that. And then they started exchanging words. Courtney is a little touchy-feely. And then Kenya was like, don't touch me. Like, I see you talk with your hands, girl, don't touch me. And Courtney was like, I really didn't touch you. It's not that deep. And then Drew speaks up, and she's like, she's just letting you know her boundaries. Like, Like, don't take it that way. Don't take it that way. And Courtney kind of calmed down, but you could tell that she was like put off by it, because it is an uncomfortable feeling when you're doing something and then someone immediately is like, don't do that. And it's in such a big group. You do feel like especially if you don't mean it in like a negative way or in like a malicious way. You do get uncomfortable and you're like, oh, okay, bitch, I see you. We don't never got to be cool. We don't never got to be cool. So I can tell that Courtney was like, oh, okay, whatever, Kenya, whatever. And so they shut it down. We then see the guys are outside. They're talking. We getting to know Scott Lee a lot more. And we find out that he's Jamaican and he goes back at least once a year and he has a restaurant. We end up finding out that Candy kind of knows who Scott Lee is because they're in the restaurant business together. But she knows he owns his own restaurant. So, Sheree leans down at the table because the ladies are still sitting at the table once we flash away from the guys scene. And she's like, so are you going to pay the man? You going to pay the chef? And Drew's like, Sheree, why are you whispering and what are you talking about? And Sheree's like, it's all over the internet that, like, you're not paying people. And then they flash tweets where people are pretty much saying that Drew was speculated not to have paid her nanny/chef, and the person is suing her seeking payment. So Drew was like, my attorneys are handling it. And then people are like, well, what happened? And Drew pretty much says that the girl wasn't really a chef, but someone that wanted to cook for them. And they were on like a trial run. But some of the food, they found hair in it. And they was just like, we good. We good. We don't need, thank you for your services, but no thank you. And they were like, well, how much is she suing you for? And she said $1,000. I said $1,000. And so then that's when everybody at the table was like, girl. And I was like, yeah, that's a frivolous lawsuit. Like, you're paying you're arguing for $1,000. You might, if it really ever goes to trial, you probably be paying more in fees, I would think, on lawyer fees, because $1,000, if you working part-time, is probably two paychecks, and maybe three, depending on how much your part-time pay is. So I was just like, girl, get a job. That lady need to get a job. It's not that deep. So they end the conversation there, and we see the ladies are flying off to Portugal. So they get to the airport. We find out Candy got food poisoning. Worst thing ever. I got sick one time, and I still to this day don't know if it was like a stomach bug that was going around at my school or if it was food poison. Either way, never again. Because when she said she was throwing up the front and coming out the back, I know that feeling. You don't want to eat nothing. Even water makes your stomach hurt. Ugh, horrible. And just horrible. So they get to Portugal. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. While on the bus, Sheree is giving this spiel about how she wants this trip to be healing and how she wants everyone to be genuine and all of this stuff. Kenya is not paying attention. She said, Sheree said something about I want everyone to be honest and open. And Kenya turned her head to the window in the bus that they were riding to the resort. And Sheree's like, Kenya, turn around. Listen to me. So then Kenya turns around being her goofy self, and they're all having a good time on the bus laughing. Again, Sheree, leave your face alone. I hate this confessional. And this is how I know those have to be fillers, because they showed another confessional of Sheree when they did one of the trailers where she's in a different outfit and her face does not look like that. And I'm feeling like, leave your face alone, Sheree. Leave your face alone. Leave it alone. So they get to Portugal. Their hotel rooms are really nice. They're really nice. But one of my mutuals did bring up, how come they don't go to villas anymore? Where all the ladies are in the house together. I was like, yeah, a villa probably would have been nicer. It probably would have been easier for the camera crew too, instead of having to go into each person's room every time they need to see interaction between people. But who knows? I think it would have been cool if they were in a villa. But the hotel rooms are really nice. And they have an upstairs and a downstairs. And their view of the city or the country is actually really pretty. So we see the girls sitting down in the lobby area. And they're talking. We found out that Rolf is in Las Vegas after I think Heath, who is Mayetta's husband, called, and they were like, and then I think Sonya told Heath, go check up on Ross while he with them kids. And Drew said, and go check up on, make sure your friend doing okay, which is Ralph, because Ralph is in Las Vegas. So we found out that Ralph is trying out for Chocolate City, which is supposed to mirror like Magic Mike or Thunder Down Under. In Las Vegas, she said that the guy that was producing or directing her music video, one of his partners were there and said they felt like Ralph could be like a good addition. So everyone's like, you gonna let Ralph be out there stripping? You really letting him audition to be out there in them streets stripping? And I kind of agree. I was like, I don't know if I would be comfortable with my husband stripping unless that's the way I met my husband and that was like his income. Like I met you through the strip club and then you just kept stripping and stuff like that. But I don't know if I would want my man to be a stripper. So I was just like, okay, girl. Okay. So, so everyone's kind of like, yeah, girl, because then Mayetta lets it be known that Candy took her there as a part of her bachelorette party gift, that they went to Las Vegas and they went to Chocolate City, and she was like, a lot of them got arms down there. So they were all giggling. Drew starts talking about, sometimes I do wonder, like, is he behaving himself? Is he doing this? So we're starting to see the cracks in their marriage, even though we know they already had cracks, but we all know about this divorce storyline. So now we're starting to see like what's leading up to that. Like their marriage isn't so perfect, even though, like I said, we knew that. When that man said, I should have gave you a Lunchable and had them eating out of dog bowls in that man's closet. So we see the ladies split up. We see Mayetta and Drew sit down and have a conversation. And pretty much we find out Mayetta has an orphanage in Northern Africa. Drew didn't understand that there's like different parts of Africa, like Northern Africa, but okay. As she's sitting down with Mayetta, she pretty much tells Mayetta how she's upset with Sheree talking about her lawsuit. She was like, I thought me and her had moved forward, and her talking about the lawsuit really rubbed me the wrong way because it doesn't seem like she was really concerned. It was just to like throw a dig at me. Then we see Sonya and Marlo sit down and have a conversation, and they talk about what happened with the whole Rio thing and Kenya getting up. And Sonya said, I think she was feeling some type of way about you and Rio, Rio having a situation. And I feel like Sonya brought up a good point. Kenya can't be mad with Marlo, or the way Kenya tried to bypass Rio being in Marlo's DMs is the same equivalent to Kenya bringing up the whole Sheree situation with Martell. Like, you had a whole meltdown. Well, I don't say meltdown because Martell, he make anybody melt down. But you made it a moment at someone else's birthday party by showing everyone the DMs. So her bringing it up, I don't think people can really fault Marlo for it add too much other than Marlo being messy. But I also feel like her kikiing about it, with Sonya kikiing with Marlo, she made a point. It is a point, girl. You tried to shoot past that, and when Marlo brings it up, you don't really want to talk about it. The point was made. Y'all just don't like that lady. Y'all just don't like that lady. And then we see Kenya and Candy speak about the trip and how they feel like maybe this might be okay because everyone seems to be in good spirits. And then she talks about how she has like a divorce hearing and all this stuff. And Candy said, I'm sick of your divorce. And we all are. I know Kenya is, but we all are. I think the only thing Kenya can get mad at Sonya for is what Marlo brung up about, like, sis, you've been seen with so many men and none of them wanted to be with you. Which is true. But some of them weren't worthy of being with, i.e. Mark and Matt. And maybe Walter. Maybe. So the ladies are going out in Portugal to get something good to eat. They're actually going to a Portuguese restaurant with like authentic Portuguese food. And they did not understand what a shot was. But then I was looking at the ladies like, I know most of y'all have iPhones. And if you don't have an iPhone and a Samsung, I know there's a translator app on there. Why not just type it in the translator app and be like, hey, this is what we want? That's what I yeah, I do that real quick. I'm still trying to learn Spanish. Like I know words, but I have a hard time putting things together, like sentences together. So like if I'm trying to talk to somebody, I will hop out that translator app on this good old iPhone and be like, this is what I mean. And they'll talk to me back. So they're sitting down at the table. The girls are, they did this whole thing about Kenya asking like who can wink and who can't wink. And Mayetta had the best wink. She had the best week. And then Sheree ends up saying how, I want this to be a healing trip again. I want us to put all our grievances out on the table and I want us to be able to move forward and really work on our friendships. So as they're sitting at the table, Courtney speaks up and she says, Kenya, I know we don't seem to be gelling, and I feel like we got off on the wrong foot. And it was brought to me that you feel as though like I'm closed off, and I don't feel like you're a mean girl because I don't think that's who you are, but that's how it's coming off to me. So then they show us a flashback, and we see Kenya sitting down with Sheree, where Kenya says she's tried to get to know Courtney, but every time she's like trying to really speak to her, Courtney kind of like shuts down. And then we see Courtney and Sheree speaking, and Sheree reiterating that like it seems like Kenya feels like you shut down when she comes around and you don't really want to talk. So then Kenya was like, yeah, we were having that moment. And then when I said, don't touch me, at first the touching felt like you were being playful, but then it got condescending. And I thank Drew for, reiterating that like it was a boundary thing. And Courtney says, okay, I can give you that. And they kind of moved on from it. So then they start talking. Drew brings up about the whole situation with Sheree. Now, y'all know I don't like Drew and I don't see it for her, but she clocked Sheree in this moment. So they're sitting down at the table and Drew brings up how she wasn't happy that Sheree brought up the lawsuit, and it didn't seem like it came from a genuine place of like concern about my family or about the situation. It felt like you were throwing it at me as a dig. And then they're going back and forth, and Sheree was like, it doesn't feel good, does it? And then Drew was like, oh, so you're trying to teach me a lesson? And Sheree was like, no. And I was like, Sheree, you are trying to teach her a lesson because you felt like Drew is speaking negatively about your business, because then Sheree brings up about Drew being on like, I guess the radio or on Watch What Happens Live, saying that she never got her She by Sheree, that they took it from her. So then Kenya chimes in, and Kenya was like, well, she not lying. People did take it from us. And then even Candy says it, and we see Sonya in her confessional say like, yeah, I don't got no She by Sheree. Then we get this funny scene of Marlo with the hat on, with the t-shirt on, with the who gonna check me boo shirt, being like, I got She by Sheree. And Sheree was like, y'all are lying because I did get like people got She by Sheree. And they're like, girl, we all can't be lying. So then they tell us that I guess a couple of people that came out with the person with the clothes rack that came out, I guess another group of people that came with Sheree, I guess her glam squad or whoever, asked the lady to give back the things. So like they didn't get to keep a hat, they didn't get to keep a bag or a t-shirt, they had to give everything back. So Sheree was like, no, I felt like you were lying. And so they start going back and forth. And Drew said, and I agree, she was like, how are you saying we're on a healing journey when you don't want to take accountability and you can't heal your own self? And then Sheree was getting upset with Drew because she felt like Drew was raising her tone. So she was like, watch your tone. And I don't feel like Drew was getting loud. I feel like Drew was making points. Like, you just said a couple of minutes ago, if you have any grievances or any issues, lay them out on the table. And that's what she's doing. And instead of you being open to it, because it's supposed to be something healing, sometimes you got to be you have to be open in order to heal and take accountability of what someone is saying. Now, I do understand Sheree still feeling some type of way about Drew, like saying something negative about her business. She felt some way about Candy saying something negative about her business. But I feel as though, like Drew said, I thought we moved forward. And that's the thing. If we moving forward, then you can't bring up old stuff. And you can't be trying to teach somebody a lesson. And so they flash back when it was Drew, Kenya, and Sheree. And I think they were at like the IV bar. And Drew was like, they apologized. Like she apologized and they were trying to move forward. So it's like, yeah, you can't really renege and go back on it. So Drew was just like, so Sheree's like, girl, we not about to do this. So then you hear Kenya pipe up, and Kenya's just like, I get real big sister, little sister energy from y'all. Like, I think Drew admires you, Sheree. And then I was with Marlo. Girl, these two are not Venus and Serena, more like, she said, more like Brittany and Jamie Lynn. I agree. Because I don't know. I don't see it. It ain't it. But the funny thing is, it's like, Drew was the one who, to me, who ignited this feud between them by bringing up that Sheree don't pay her guests by introducing Anthony. Is that his name? Her personal assistant who was talking about the libations last season. She started it with that lady. And then when Fatum, who is Sheree's friend, came, it got even worse. It got even worse. So it's like Drew started it off by bringing up the rumors around people saying Sheree don't pay. And Sheree just keeping it going by saying, girl, well, I heard you don't pay either. So as they're sitting down and everyone's getting their food and they're eating, Drew gets really upset and she walks away from the table. Like, she like gets really upset because Sheree is just like, girl, I'm not hearing you. And she walks outside. Sonya is the first one to go get her. Like, Sonya's like, oh my gosh, she crying. Like, y'all, she going outside. So Sonya gets up to go check up on her. You see Marlo being like, girl, you're the hostess. Go get your friend. Like, make sure she's okay. You see Sheree and Kenya follow out, and then it says to be continued. But I thought this episode was actually like really good. So far, like in 10 episodes, I feel like we've only had like 4 good episodes. And I think this was a really good episode. The shade was shady and it was petty, but it wasn't nothing too deep. And Drew crying at the end was a bit much because I'm like, why does it matter that Sheree is bringing this up? Like, you don't really like her. She don't really like you. I wouldn't take anything Sheree said about me that serious if I was Drew. But it is what it is. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. And if you like what you heard, subscribe and give me a thumbs up.